Some of you are probably looking at going, that's not in the center of the vehicle. That's correct. And that is correct. It's focus before position. One of the number one mistakes made in doing delay is people trying to place their stage with delay. That is not correct. It's focus before position. You do this until it gets to the tightest position possible.
Hi, Glenn.
Now, here's a little exercise when you're doing this, and I ran Keith through this morning. Let's say you're doing the delay, and all of a sudden at 1 millisecond you hear it come together. And at 1 millisecond it sounds like it's focused. Do you stop there, or do you keep going? You keep going. Your ears have only so much resolution, especially if you've never done this before. You may go from 1 millisecond to 1.1 milliseconds and still have it sound the same before you hear it diffuse. So what I say is keep going until you hear it destroy itself, and then you go back. So in the case of the example here, if you have 1 millisecond to 1.1
This
milliseconds the resolution
is the new S8.
I'm not saying that's the setting on there.
Kenwood.
But it's the
Installed in an
So if
F-150.
that's your range, what do you pick? The one right in the middle.
And this is Fred Lynch from Arcadio. Flapping his
You
jaws.
sat down in the car earlier. What was your thoughts when you went out for the first time with just one pair of seats?
When I first started, I went too far, and I thought, second, third, time to go right back, go back to the but I forgot that it was supposed to be just the first one. So getting used to that, just going with the first one, changing it. But not using that for years, it was different.
Yeah.
It made sense when the third changed.
The first time you do it is going to be different in years until you practice it a few times. But the reality is that once you do the first one, it goes that way. And you can tune a lot of channels very quickly with this process. So let's say we did this focus here where we got the 2 points to one spot. Now you simply use the mid-ranges, put the tweeters on, and now you're going to do the same thing again.
There you go.
So now the tweeters come together. Tweeters are a little bit harder.
So there you go, guys. We're in Canada, CMA Expo. And we just got done, Josh and I just got done putting in the Kenwood S8
All you're doing is taking these features and
not float screen, 8-inch mount into this F-150. Go figure, an F-150,
now
right?
we're going to do the same thing.
So,
with the mid-base
as you can
driver.
see, looks factory.
Yes, sir,
Let me shut this off. This is the part I love the most. Hold on, let me do this.
Where we want it? No. How are we going to fix that? I'm going to show you here in a minute.
Look how that looks.
So the
You
reality
can't even
is
tell there's an
now,
aftermarket
that is
stereo
what
in
we
there.
have. We have 3 focus points. Guys, this isn't rocket science. This is designed to make it very, very
There you go.
easy.
Factory look, factory
Bring
fit.
those 2 points
It's pretty
together
awesome.
on all 3 of those drivers.
So if you're waiting for one of these next month,
Now, if you flip
will the Kenwood
mid-base
update to
driver,
a new
it does
software
the same
on the older models?
It's a yes or no proposition. If you hear the shades jump up,
Hey, do
you
stuff
know
like
that was right.
They just fix problems, that's it.
Really low, it was wrong.
But
I guarantee you, hanging on to
this is your update.
that's what's going to happen.
Right, Josh?
And here's the best part.
100%. Yeah, buy a new radio, that's your update. I don't make the rules.
That's the beautiful part.
That is the beautiful part. But there you go. I need to be talking. I don't want to make Fred mad. Let's take a look at this crowd, though.
Take both of those mid-base drivers on the master crossover, flip them both out of phase of the speeders, and watch them go from top to bottom. It's a little quick. Simple, easy. So the next issue we have is the subwoofers. I mean, we'd love to have that, right?
See ya.
Chances are we get that. We're here.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to the show. We're outside. This is a dually, which sucks, right, Fernando?
That's fine.
You gotta speak louder, man. Anyways, this is a fun one. So this is a 2021 GMC big truck, 8-foot bed, dually. Look at the size of this thing. So we got super wheels on it. I mean, that's like, they're really sticking out. It's got a reserve gas pump on the back. Anyways, it's got a bass audio system. Diesel. So it's got a bass audio system in it. And how do we know that? In case some of you guys haven't like, we're gonna let you in on some secrets today, okay? What's going on, my dude? What's up, Chris? Okay, so with GM, there's codes for, like most manufacturers have all the codes, and where you find the codes are right here. Okay, so this is the gateway to all your information about your truck. And you just come over here and with your camera you scan it and you hit return and it'll pull it all up in your browser. And what you're looking for in a GM is an IO and then the third letter. So this is an IOR, which is the abbreviation for basic radio. All right, there's tons of IOs, IO 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then they got IOKs. And anyways, what that helps you with is figuring out what interface you need. And in this case, there is no interface because it's basic audio. However, this is the LPH GM71, and right there it says IOR infotainment system. So if you buy this piece knowing that IR code, then, or IOR code, IO code, then you buy the right harness, you plug it in, and you get your preamp output. How the Vinity, we're still waiting for the guy to pick it up, so it turned out wonderful. Anyways, back to this. So, bass audio, which is kind of cool, which means he doesn't have the cool back seat with the flappy thingy that we can open up. Now, if you've never worked on a GM before, which some of you haven't, the factory radio is not located in the dash. It is actually located right up here, and you can see these are the colors, and they go up into this. So there's a T harness, and there's the factory harnesses. So there's a T harness that everything is up into the factory amplifier, and that gives us our left and right output if we so choose to use them. And that, then we take it to the RTA and we meter, play pink noise, and we find out what is this basic radio doing as far as how much sound we need to fix. Meaning, do we need a kicker key lock? Are we okay without it? Well, that's going to depend on the amplifier. For this, we chose, let me walk over here. We chose a special amplifier, and we chose it specifically for this, which is the kicker LX 850.1. The reason why we chose this amplifier over all the other amplifiers we have is because of aftershock, and it's 1 ohm stable. I don't really care about that. I just know some of you guys out there, it has the fit circuit, start-stop compliant, but it has aftershock. Now, aftershock is great when you're dealing with a factory system that has bass issues, bass roll off, high pass filter. There's a lot of these things that the aftershock, because it's epicenter-ish, it can deal with and fix and give you that fat, luscious bass with just having to buy one cool piece. Now it has high level input, so that solves that issue. So once we ran our RTA and we saw what our signal looked like, we knew that the LX 850.1 could deal with it without having to put any form of correctiveness in front of it. There's a 6 dB per octave high pass filter between, which is an octave, so 25 to 50, 1 octave, 6 dB down. So that was it. That's all it has. So it's just between that octave. So between octaves, it goes 6 dB down. Past 25, there's really nothing happening. But between 25 and 50, there was just a 6 dB. So we knew if we went with the aftershock circuit, we could fix all that. Do you ever tune the input DSP or tune from a flat signal? So if it, okay, that's a loaded question. We'll have to come back to that because that's a long conversation. But let's stick with this for right now. But that's a great one. You should ask that on the live show Saturday. Anyways, so knowing what we have coming out of the radio with the RTA, we can easily put this guy in here. Nice and small. It was going to have to go underneath the seat. Since this doesn't have power seats, it fits like a dream. There is a factory push Christmas tree thing that's here. We took that out. We put a nutsert in so we could drill this down into place. And then the cool thing about the kicker is, of course, you can flip this any way you want. So we were able to do this guy here. And then you can choose the color and intensity. So this lights up blue, and we can come over here and we can turn it down if we need to. Easily underneath this front panel here. And then the bass knob that controls all the magic is located right here. So this has a great place for the bass knob to go, which is also the effects knob for the aftershock. Now, of course, if you're gonna do a Kicker LX series amplifier, you have to go with, I know what you're saying, a Kicker box. So two L7 12, so two L7 T12s in the factory Kicker box up underneath the seat. Plenty of room, slides right into place. We get tons of bass. 1 ohm, 850 watts minimum coming to it. Stop start compliant. Not that we need to worry about that in a diesel, but it's there. W7, always W7. So PVC or ABS for underseat amp racks really just comes down to, I was kneeing on a bug. Really just comes down to how big the amp rack is going to be, where it's going to go, how much cutting you have to do on it. ABS is a pain in the butt to cut. And like if it's going to float somewhere. In this case, this is ABS because there's a lot of cutting that had to go on. And I knew it was just going to melt and it would not really yield much difference if it would just be harder and I wouldn't get the benefit of it putting it in there. What I was looking for, which I can't find, this is what we used to make the amp rack. So I just took and laid the JK tape, what do they call this? Interior cover? Interior. Laid it over, used the marker, traced it out. No measuring involved. So it was a perfect fit, dropped right into place. Which one is louder, audio control or Kicker truck loaded? So like I said, the reason why we chose this amplifier over all the other amplifiers we could have chose is for aftershock. So it has bass restoration built into it, which is, especially in a factory situation, going to make the bass louder. No question about it. It's going to sound better. It's going to be louder. It's going to be fantastic. So that was why we picked the LX 850.1. And it fits in there really nice. So cool on that. So this truck was in today for just a simple bass upgrade. Now we'll get this thing out of here. And we'll move on to the next one. Anything you think of for this, Fernando?
About what?
I don't know. Anyways, I tell you what, we're going to get this pulled around. I'm going to pause this, I'm going to stop. I'll meet you guys out front, and I'll show you the G35. How's that sound? Sound like a good plan? Sound like a good plan?
Sounds like a fantastic plan.
All right. I'll see you guys in a couple minutes. Got the keys for the G35. Let's check her out. This thing is cherry, bro. Like beautiful. Definitely worth putting the money you put into it. Paint looks fantastic. Dash, like most of these, this is shattered into a million pieces. It's no cracks, no shininess, no nothing. So this is the Scotch dash kit, which can't get anymore. He also had the nav, so the only pocket he could find, like he couldn't get the silver that he wanted, so it's black, but I mean, at the end of the day, the radio was the most important thing. He also got a pocket, and it's silver, but because he couldn't get the black. Because these parts for these cars are obviously getting a little bit harder to find. But we have a 908 in the dash. So turn that on. Exelon, fantastic. Just wait for that to, don't want this to blare. Don't remember what it was on first, so we'll just turn that down, hit agree. One of the things that we did on this is our new USB-C cigarette lighter replacement. So this is our latest combination laser / 3D printed. So this just slides right in. There's a bolt on the back, and that goes into place. We're working on it. This is still like one out of prototype. Good job, Fernando.
What happened?
No, your USB-C cigarette lighter adapter.
That's the factory one.
Easy there, killer. So this ended up getting a set of Access 6.5 tweets here in the front.
Yeah.
And that was all he did for sound. So there's an 803.5 in here. I'm sorry, 802.5 in here, powering the front stage and a subwoofer in the trunk. So we'll take a look at that. Made an amp rack to mount it up against the seat. This had the Bose system in it. So that all came out along with the factory nav. So in the glove box was the factory navigation system. Then it had all this stuff, which we dealt with before. This was the Bose amp. He opted to take it out, which was fantastic. So we're gonna have to do a bunch of cutting. Oh, hang on. And then he went online and he ordered this whole piece here from somebody, which allowed him to get a glove box back in here. So this isn't new, this is a reused part, so that's kind of cool. So there again, turned out good for him. And then we have, we put a backup camera on here also. Here's the access. Let me get this stuff out of the way. So made an amp rack, bolted it into place. Risers, wirings hid. Keep it as clean as possible. Of course, braided wire. Kenwood subwoofer enclosure. This is the Exelon version of it, so it has the red stripe. It's 112, and it can be mounted in several different options. This is down firing mode right here. That's because we have all this stuff in the trunk and we don't want to damage the woofer, even though it does have a grill on it. We can flip this up and we can make it a backfiring woofer if we want to, but it left us perfect. There's just enough room for this to fit right in between the amplifier and the side so it doesn't slide around and whatnot. We also took the rear deck out and pulled out the factory Bose subwoofer, this guy right here, so that we could get more bass up through the rear deck, which in turn we also had to put some foam across this area here because it was doing the rattly stuff. Yeah. So that solved that. He had this in here nice and neat. I went and messed it up. So, but outside of that, you know, that'll look really nice once he gets all his stuff. Now, for the funny part is we know that most people leave all their stuff in their trunk for an extended period of time. We'll have cars, you know, they'll come back 6 months later and they'll still have all the stuff we took out of their car in it, which I find kind of funny. As far as wiring went in this car, it was a pretty straightforward. Up the passenger side, there's the power wire goes through the passenger side hole there. So that was that. Anything else you can think of?
No, it was crazy.
Do you guys use any software to design custom parts for car audio? Yeah, we use all kinds of software to design custom parts for cars. I mean, you have to. So this piece here, the tweeter, laser cut part to fit the access tweeter into the door. The mid-range, we didn't have to do anything. Believe it or not, it's the first time in I don't know how long we were able to just actually screw the speaker into the factory bracket. It was the craziest thing I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I really like those brackets. So we put sound treatment around the inside of the bracket so it can be more solid, just for the mid bass. And it was fantastic.
So, yeah, doors turned out really nice. Everything sounds good.
You got the key?
I have the key.
Perfect.
Yep. So
No,
he's gonna love this.
I love it.
Fernando had a little bit of flashback there.
Yeah.
So we'll get this off to him in a little while. But no, it turned out really nice.
Yeah.
Next up in the install bay right now is an F250, 2025 F250 that he's just doing a subwoofer upgrade in. So yeah, that's it. So as far as back to the question about software and designing things, yeah. So this is a prototype of that finished product you saw in the car. So this is designed to go in where the factory cigarette lighter went in. Do you have all the cigarette lighters that we started studying? Because we had a ton of them. So these are all different cigarette lighters that have come out of cars. And one of the things, some of them have this nipple here, which is cool, so it doesn't twist. And then they have this tooth here. And then we found that the tooth doesn't always line up with the nipple. So depending on, you go down the road, see this nipple is closer to there. And so we originally started doing this. And then this one here, this one is the same, but this one doesn't even have that tooth, and then the nipple is way up high. So 4 different style cigarette lighters, but the one thing that is unique to all of them is the hole is the exact same size. So we were like, all right, we're fighting the wrong battle. So we add, and this is all drawn in Fusion 360, which is now just Fusion. So this is designed to where this is going to go in. We have a USB-C that comes through here. We cut an acrylic top, and then this will go right into any cigarette lighter port, power port, whatever you want to call it, and we don't have to drill a hole in the dash. So, and most of the time people are using their power ports for charging their phones anyways, so that solves that. So we've been spending a lot of time on this one, and of course the one for the Toyota, trying to streamline the process to make these things a little bit nicer, a little bit easier. But yeah, we use a couple different softwares depending on what it is we're doing. I use a software called Amadine because I'm a Mac guy, and I use that to draw 2D. He's using Fusion for 3D. I also the Bamboo software that comes with the 3D printers is very nice, so we've been building stuff with that. At the end of the day, it's just how fast can we design it and how quick can we get it into the car is what it comes down to. How does USB mount into that little mount and keep it solid? So the which one is that? That's a Kenwood. So the Kenwood head looks just like this, okay? So the nice thing about I have one here. So the nice thing about the 3D is that you can keep screwing with it until you get it to where it's super, super tight. And as you can see here, this is super, super tight.
Yeah, it is tight.
So usually I use a flathead to kind of push it from the bottom. So anyways, this gets put into place there, and then the acrylic piece goes in around it. And once that's all in, we put it into the car, we screw this into place, and then we use a little bit of CA glue to hold the whole thing and keep this from spinning. So, there again, the tolerances that we have access to are incredible. So, yeah, it's pretty nice. So what device do you like to use to integrate into the Ford FO BO system? Incredible, for sure. It depends what we're trying to do. Obviously, when it comes to AB adapters or A to B adapters for BO. So look at him. He's like, oh, so cool. Hold on. Yeah, so there you go. Looks like that. Anyways, there's several available to us now. So you have Nav TV, you have iData, you have MoBridge, and you have PAC. The thing I've found out of all of them, it really doesn't matter in that if you're doing PAC, you're going to do Toslink because Toslink sounds the best. According to Sage, he likes to use the Zen Nav TV piece, the Zen A to B. He likes doing RCA, so there's that. We've had problems and successes with all of them. So it's just a matter of what you can get your hands on most of the time because they're somehow constantly seem to be in rotating back out. So I don't care, just so I can get into it. That's all that I'm concerned with. And then if I'm just integrating in for like a sub, key lock. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, anyways, that's what's going on here in the Bay today. I got nothing else. I don't think. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, Today's
nothing.
Today's Wednesday.
Yes,
Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. Apparently, Hi-Fi and I are going to be back tomorrow night, which would be cool. The podcast with Brian Mitchell and myself, we're a little behind because I was out of town. Now he's out of town.
What the hell?
So,
Come on,
normally
guys.
we try to record stuff beforehand, but we didn't this
You
time.
should do it on the road.
No, sounds like crap. So we're a little behind. What's new with the 3D printing? So I was gone for a week, so I really haven't had time to do much. One of the things that we took to Canada were these. So these are our little wiggly fish. So it's a dead fish. It says 5-star on the tail. So I was handing these guys out to everybody. A little stressy thing they can play with it in their pocket and, whatever turns them on. But we gave a bunch of these away and then they were giving these away to everybody else. I thought mine was a little bit cooler. Fernando worked on the cigarette lighter adapter for the most part. Outside of that, I don't think we've printed anything else, right?
No.
Yeah, no, not much. I mean, we did a whole bunch of printing, as you can see from this. We did a whole bunch of prototype printing before we went to MasterTech and before we went to Canada. This is kind of the catch-all drawer right now. So right now it's just trying to get caught back up. We have some videos we have to film. We got a bunch of kicker stuff we're going to be filming, which is really cool. My good friend Ray made me this. He 3D printed this. This is a shrink wrap cutter. So this allows us to tell here, let me flip it around the other way. That'd be smart, right? This allows us to choose what length we want, and then we have to put a razor blade on here, and then we just, guillotine it off.
Just cut myself.
I know, right? So that's pretty cool. I can't wait to give that a go. So we'll play with that some here in the future. How's the storefront? It's been a minute since the last update. We talked about it before I left, I think. I gotta return this key, so I'll walk you guys over there. Can y'all stay late today and help Paul finish up the store? Paul doesn't do anything in the store, guys. It's not Paul doesn't do anything over there. That's not his. He wouldn't know. If he would go home, we would have to stay late. And we actually have to stay late tonight. We've been working. We have a dyno we're doing tonight, so you guys will see that tomorrow. That looks like a lot of old school credit. It does look like an old school credit card machine. I was thinking the same thing when I picked it up. It was pretty funny. Let's put this on low because it's off right now.
Okay.
So it probably got kicked. So check the connection.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, it's off. So just check the connection.
No, we
Yep, I'll put it on my list of things to do. So anyways, let's head over here. I'll give the keys back. And I'll show you guys what's going on over here, which really isn't much. I don't think it's changed since we've talked about it last time, but if you miss it, which we put out a ton of stuff, so it's easy to do. This area here has pretty much stayed the same. We do now have this finished. So the rule is floor is lava. So nothing is supposed to sit on the floor. It's all supposed to go over here. And of course, this is here because we just took that down. So on this side, there again, we have this amp rack here, or amp rack, sub rack, illuminated, because we had counters here. We got rid of those. Here. This is my concession to Paul. I hate it, but it's what can I do? And then the other one moved over here because we haven't started on this nightmare yet. So that'll be sometime later this year. This is all getting. If you need a display, we have two. So give them a call. You can come pick them up because they're going in the dumpster. So. Location of mids and tweets in Brian's two-way system. you talking about his truck? His truck, the tweeter's in the dash, the mid-bass is in the door. So, factory locations, nothing out of the factory location. Took the 2.5-inch middler out, put a tweeter, RS tweeter. Took out the factory 6x9, put an RS 6.5. It's all powered off the Blackbird. So 8 channels, 2 on tweets, 2 on mids, 4 on subs. That's how that's running. We're back in the Bay. We're gonna get started on this beautiful gray Ford F-250. Just a simple sub upgrade. This is time for lunch. Oh, Fernando's getting his lunch out. Which Doritos are those? Are those basic?
They're normal, yeah.
Oh, let me get one of these before you kill them. Because...
Kill them?
Yeah, you're going to cover them
You're
in...
actually adding something, you know. Audio Systems! What's up?
Hey.
What's up, guys? Also, I just want to tell you, today, this show is brought to you by exactly MorelHiFi.com. That's the prize sponsor of this beautiful subwoofer Slim that we have in there for over like 15 years. Still there. I mean, at some point we're gonna put him in the car. But go check them out. MorelHiFi.com. A lot of you guys asking like how they sound. They sound amazing. That's what they have on the Bronco, and the Bronco sounds really nice. So go check them out. MorelHiFi.com. If you're gonna see a picture or some different pictures on different cars, Morel_America here on Instagram or on Facebook, Morel America Inc.
Wow, good call. Okay, so while you were talking, promoting show, paying the bills as I like to call it, he is not doing a 4 Gately box. Cool. The butter chicken Doritos are wild. Please feel free to send those to us. I would love to try that.
Yeah,
we don't have those here.
No, we don't.
So if you got some way, I would send them here to 5-star. I will gladly let you know how those guys are.
Yeah.
And audience, what's up, guys? How are you out there? We're just doing our thing, you know, nothing fantastic. What do you recommend to wire a radio into 2015 Chevy Silverado non-Bose?
Anything.
I mean, at the end of the day, you just need something. So Pack makes a solution, pack-audio.com. iData Maestro makes a solution. That's probably the one I'm going with because here you go. Here's another one.
Yeah. I'm going to collect all of them.
I know. So that's probably the solution I'm going with because I can program everything from my laptop. Now, if you're not a laptop person, Pack is probably a better alternative. Those are kind of the caveats is, you know, with the...
Now, when you say wire radio, I believe that
Doritos
Stinger fits that type of Chevy.
You mean the high 10 or the
10?
Horizon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That looks so nice. So
it does.
Check them out.
It does. And the new direct fit from Kenwood will look nice.
They're not
JVC
available
Kenwood.
yet, so
They're not available yet, so they do not count. No, that's for sure. But anyways, that's what's happening here today. Make sure to tune in. One other thing I forgot to mention, a little housekeeping. Like I said, we'll be back live Thursday with Hi-Fi Vega.
That's right.
Monday, we're not doing the Monday show. We're going to do the Monday show Tuesday.
What? Why?
Yeah. Canada chips be crazy. Yeah, I know. The all dressed. They love the all dressed and they love the ketchup.
Dude.
So gross.
That's how you do it.
Realizing the red and yellow wire are both wires to the battery, but one is... Yeah, I can't read for crap today, apparently. But yes, we will be using that wire in this car. Red and yellow. Red is positive. Yellow is negative. Thank you, Marine.
So confused.
Yeah, I know. It sucks. Love ketchup chips. It's, hey, you know what? It's a personal thing. If you love them, that's fantastic. He loves these Doritos covered in Valentina sauce. Yeah. It just looks like a train wreck. It's like the burritos got... the Doritos got shot.
You can grab the other side.
Real clear on Taco Bell. 2021 Mustang. What is a good three-way component for easy installation? The Morel Ultimo? No, not Ultimo. Maximo. Morel Maximo Ultra. Drops right in. Mm-hmm. Simple enough. If you want to go high end. Well, yeah, but you still need brackets. You're going to need brackets for anything, but you don't have to do anything. Yeah, no crazy mods. Or if you want to go a little high end and willing to do a little bit, no cutting, but just better brackets, then you can look at the full cal flax. You'll have to look up the address again to send the chip package. Yeah. 5-Star Car Stereo, Clearwater, Florida. All right, we're going to get to work. You guys have a wonderful day. See ya. Bye. You got this, man.
Why would they do that?
I mean, you know, because they love you.
No, but
I don't know.
see, we should talk to manufacturers.
Car manufacturers?
Manufacturer and be like, hey man, listen, we are the ones that upgrade in the systems in these shitty cars that you guys have with shitty systems. Just leave me space so I can run my power wire. Because I want to cut myself constantly.
I think if they would just like file off the metal.
Huh?
I think if they just file off the metal so it wasn't so razor bladey on the edges would be helpful too.
No, just do what I'm telling you to do.
Oh, just
That's it.
Okay.
And we're not gonna be friends. We just
do what you're told.
do what I'm told.
Ah, okay.
That's it. You know, Dean style.
Dean style. Okay. Gotcha. Totally understand. Good day, everyone. Looks painful. I mean, it is kind of painful. That's why I left it for him. Oh, you didn't realize we were live?
No.
Oh.
Dude.
Yeah. Well, no, I just wanted everyone to...
Something bad about
Yeah.
this beautiful car.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, today we're working on this Toyota Camry. It's just getting a basic sub upgrade, fuse holders mounted in place, waiting to get through the firewall. That's the stopping point right now. What are you doing? Dude, you need a rock? Jesus. Okay, Charlie Brown. So when working on a car like this, obviously you're like, wow, that's a lot that you took apart. But yeah, it is. I mean, but it just makes things so much easier. In this case, like it's 2 bolts and the whole seat comes out. That makes running the wire through here, you know, and getting to this wiring harness to attach to way easier to do. The one thing to note about a Toyota is that it has aluminum speaker wire. Aluminum. And it's not like it's hard to get to. This is it right here.
Yeah.
This is the speaker wire. All right. But it's aluminum, so it's not even worth it. Believe it or not, one of the things we found out as of lately, this is one of those aha moments that we were like, how come we haven't thought of this before? Because it's kind of stupid. So, high level to low level. 9 times out of 10, you want to grab the front speakers, right? You want to grab one that... I need a haircut, apparently. You want to grab either the driver's, passenger, or both. Doesn't really matter. And because the front speakers are the ones that have the most bass. The rear speakers in some cars will be high-passed, because it's what they do. Of course, if you have an electrical RTA like the IRTA2, and some of you go, IRTA2, what is that?
Where
This
you
guy?
can find it.
You can find a DNF tool drawer. So if you have one of these, you can easily test to see which speaker has the most bass. You can see if there's any ANC, see if there's a high-pass filter. You can test all that stuff with one of these connected to your USB-C device and running an appropriate RTA app. Super easy. The problem is now, where do you tap the speaker? So, you know, if you want to tap into there or whatever. But most cars have a dash speaker now. So like this speaker right here. Okay? So this speaker, how this car is wired, it comes from the radio to this dash speaker, out of this dash speaker, down and into the door. So this has the full range signal in it right here. It's right there. Boom. It's right there. So believe it or not, what we've been doing lately, that's where we tap into our speaker. It's easy to figure out which one's positive and negative. It's easy to test there for everything. So I can pop this. I can test I can see, does it have full range? What does it have? Do I need a key lock? I can test to see if it has fake engine noise. I can test everything I want right at that speaker. The thing is, like that has a capacitor on it, so you have to go before the capacitor, which is fine because that's usually before the plug. And there you go. Now, if you're like, what do? Well, you can easily solder onto it because there's factory solder points right there. It's really the only part in the car that has a factory solder point is at the circuit board level or at the speaker. So you solder right onto it, your 2 speaker wires. So positive and negative right there. And then, if you're crazy like us, you make a cool little pigtail, which is right here. So nice little pigtail. It's all set and ready to go. Attached to it, and now we have our speaker for our subwoofer. And we didn't have to cut into the factory wiring harnesses. We didn't have to take a whole bunch of nonsense apart. And it's one of those things that you're like, man, I'm doing this for 30 years. Never thought to do that. It seems kind of silly. Because, I can't tell you how many times we've dug around in the kick panel trying to tap into a speaker. And right there on the A-pillar of the dash is a speaker we could have tapped right into because the wiring was there. So that would be your pro tip for the day. Can I use the DM608 as an LOC on my 2025 Subaru Crosstrek? And where can I get the signal from? So, yes, the answer is, can you use a DM608 as an LOC or line output converter? Sure, it has a 6 to 8 line output converter built into it. It's 2025 Crosstrek. If you're going to be doing front, rear, and sub, then it kind of makes sense to go behind the radio or at the radio brain, wherever that might be. There's probably a Subaru T-harness that either Pack or Metro makes that'll make the installation a little bit more streamlined, so you don't have to cut a bunch of stuff, because on 2025 I don't want to cut it. Typically Metro will give you pictures of what their plugs look like, so in your case of you like, I don't know, I would take the radio out of the dash and see what the plug looks like and compare it to what's on Metro. And, obviously we're going to have it in stock, so we would just proceed with the install, but you might not. So at that point, order the corresponding harness, especially if it's your car. You don't want to cut the harness and do stupid stuff. So, take your time and do it right. But there again, it just depends what you're doing. Obviously, all we're doing in this situation is adding a subwoofer. So there's really no reason for us to, do anything silly. But there is a T-harness for this like Toyota. There is a T-harness. So if we were going to put in a full stereo in this, then we would have unscrewed the radio, plugged in the Pack T-harness, and everything would have been fantastic. But in this case, just adding a sub, it makes it kind of simple. So I don't know how extent you need to get on yours, but yes, you can definitely use your DM608 as a line output converter. Very basic, but I know there's lots of people that do it. I'm adding a 5-channel amplifier. Yeah, of course. So I would get the corresponding T-harness, plug it in behind the radio. That would be what we would do. That would make for the cleanest installation. Look at him go, man. He's just having so much fun in this car. You got this.
Yeah.
We still have that big expensive drill that's designed to go through the firewall.
Yeah, it doesn't fit in here, bro.
Sure it does. It's smaller than that.
I think this is one of those things, you see this?
Yeah. It's smaller.
I think this car doesn't need that.
It's smaller than the drill you're using.
So we're just going to remove it.
The emergency brake?
Yeah, because it doesn't need it. It's emergency brake.
I don't know, but that's a lot for an emergency brake.
That's what this is for.
The horn?
The horn.
The horn stops you?
Just horn people.
Makes my back hurt watching him. Well, that's, because he's young. He's young. He's like in his, he's like 32.
That is true.
Yeah, and his brain. His hair is telling him that he's 40. But his brain is saying he's 32. And my back hurts too. Show the convert.
Huh?
I don't know what you mean by... Oh, you mean I'm not pulling the speaker back out, guys.
You know what hurts?
The fact that you're using that drill when there's an easier drill to use.
No, it hurts is my ribs.
Your ribs hurt?
Because...
Ribs sound good. Some barbecue ribs? Ooh. With beans and slaw? Ooh, that sounds good.
Right here.
Yeah? Well, you could always put the running board back over that. You know that, right? That's what I do.
It takes too much time.
It takes too much time? You'd rather just complain about it?
And that's just as smart.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Helix DSP. I don't see you do a lot of installs of them. Is the software difficult to program? No, we are a Helix dealer. We do not do a lot of them. We do a handful of them here and there. To be fair, we carry several DSPs. We carry Moscone, we carry ARC, we carry Helix, we carry Audio Control, we carry Rockford. We do have Alpine, though. We've never used it. we have Audison, and those are all just brands you can buy from in the store. So we do have to know how to use all of them. Now, Helix has just done a big software update on theirs. So they're up to like 6.0 now, and they were on 5.0, I believe. Don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure. And my biggest complaint with the Helix software, and I told Julian, I said, I just don't like the input-output mixer. In my brain, using all the other ones, that one makes the least amount of sense to me. Now, once you get past the input-output mixer and set up your virtual channels and all that, and I understand the concept of it, it does make things a little better, a little easier to use. The software is pretty much straightforward when you're looking at a high-end DSP software. So the 4 high-end DSP softwares are Audisons, Helix, Mosconis, and ARC. They are the 4 that are the most unique and the most difficult to use because they're bigger than everybody else's and they have a lot more features. Audio control is super easy to use, and most of the inexpensive DSP software is all based on the same software, and they're all pretty much straightforward. I mean, you learn one, you've learned them all. So it's a great software. It does a ton of stuff, and if you've never used anything else and you learn it, it'll make total sense to you. Having to know all the softwares that we know, though, sometimes things kind of crash up here in the brain as far as, like, logically they don't make sense. Understanding how to use it, though, totally the same as all the rest. Just getting to that point. Definitely by far on all DSPs, the input-output setup is the most important and is also can be the hardest thing to use. People always complain like JL Audio is this, that, or the other, and it's like ARC Audio has 2 input setups depending on how your brain works, which is really cool. Mosconi has their input out. Everybody has it, and it's just understanding how that works. That's it. Outside of that, everything just goes according to plan, and it's understanding how DSP software works that makes it work, so to speak. Those softwares, the 4 I mentioned, what makes them unique is they have a lot of features for actually speeding up the process, such as grouping. Grouping is important. Sounds like I need to upgrade my software. I don't think the new software is out yet because they just announced it at MasterTech like 2-3 weeks ago. So I think the new software is coming. I found the Audison Forza software to be easy to use. Helix software looks intimidating. And there again, I will say this, like with the Audison software is very icon based. So they have a bunch of little icons that mean specific things. And so my struggle with that is like, can I get like a cheat sheet on icons? And they're like, I think there is one. And it's understanding what those icons mean. The nice thing is if you hover over them, they kind of give a Italian/English version of what they are. So sometimes you're like, what does that mean?
Can you grab it?
I would love to grab it for you. I can't see it though. Oh, hold on. Wait, don't move. I got it. Sorry. So, anyways, as I've said a million times before, Fernando, when it comes to DSP software, what do you do? Hold on, wait.
What do you do? This show is brought to you by MorelHiFi.com. Exactly. Don't forget, MorelHiFi.com. That's the place that you can find beautiful speakers and amplifiers. Now, back to the question. Just download it, play with it, see if it makes sense for you. And if you find that it is a lot complicated and it doesn't make sense, just play with another one until you find something that is like, oh, this is the one that it makes sense for me.
Bingo.
And it's free. You don't have to
play
pay
with
for the software.
I mean, one guy makes you pay for his DSP so he can send you a link to his
So
software.
play with
somebody else's stuff.
50,000
Yeah.
that they have, right?
Bro, you okay, man?
Exactly.
You sure?
Oh, look at that.
What,
Yesterday we went to the store and he saw that one and he's like, oh man.
you got that out of a bubblegum machine? I mean, it looks like you got it out of a bubblegum machine.
So
I mean, it's bigger than you. Goes down to your belly button practically. Is that an ice cream cone? Is it an ice cream cone?
No, it's basketball.
Looks like an ice cream cone. Dude, it literally looks like an ice cream cone. Does it not look like an ice cream cone? It looks like a standard ice cream cone.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like an ice cream cone. You bought an ice cream cone to hang around. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like ice cream cones, so to me it's kind of cool. But it's totally an ice cream cone.
To me, it's a basketball.
I mean, you can call it whatever you want. It's an ice cream cone. What's up, Arturo? Hey, good luck or congratulations on the new store.
On the new store, bro.
Nando's advice is legendary. Thank you. It is. He's good at it. But anyways, there you go. That's the simplest way to figure out what DSP software you like. And if you find something intimidating, what do? You either run from it or you charge right into it. I like to charge right into things and just stumble my way through them until I figure them out. It's kind of how things go. So, but if you have an Audison DSP, it's one of the 4 best DSPs on the planet. I really don't see the motivation to go and try something new. You know, like it's like unless you're just one of those people that just wants to push buttons and try new stuff. So, which I'm perfectly fine with because I like to do that. So I'm trying out a different way of printing. So this is our speaker cup that we designed and really haven't done anything with. And so I'm trying to print it standing up, which is taking significantly longer, but it might look better. So we'll prototype that and see how that looks. And yeah, charge, go, just blindly go into it. Be a good day for some ice cream. I know, right? Every day is a good day for ice cream. Soft serve or hard though? So you want scoop or soft serve? That's a good question because it really varies. Like I think today would be soft serve, licking a cone. I think that'd be fun. You know, like a chocolate vanilla swirl, but real ice cream, not the fake crap. So this is what it looks like. Very blue. A couple clouds in the air, but it's gorgeous right now. Like today's the day you don't go to work. Like I would love to not be working today and just be like parked somewhere reading a book and just kind of like taking this in. 'Cause, man, it feels, or have something to do. Maybe going on a boat. That would be fun. It's kind of windy though, so a boat probably wouldn't be a good idea right now because there's probably choppy sea. Oh wow, you got him taking out the trash? Man. Good job. But yeah, no, it feels really nice. It feels good. So are DSP only good for factory radios, or are they worth having for aftermarket as well? That's a good question. So let's take this in stride. Let's kind of figure out an answer to that, and then you can decide. Because at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. Coppers. I see shiny things. Anyways, all right. So we'll hop inside of this Corolla. All right. So Fernando.
It's a Camry, actually.
A Camry. Sorry. So that's where you sit, right there, where this cool seat cover is. All right. Neat. This is where the first speaker is here.
Yeah.
Second speaker's over there.
Yeah.
Then there's one in that door. There's one in this door. There's 2 in the back. Yeah. And then there's a subwoofer back there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so are all the speakers the same distance from your head?
No, sir.
They're not. They're totally different distances from your head. So the first thing that means is that do we want to align them? So do we want it to sound like everything is aligned in the center of the dash?
Okay, but the question is, why do we have to align them?
Well, I'm going to get there. Okay. So if you have a home stereo where you have a left and right speaker, you're listening to 2-channel audio, and you're like, man, when I sit in the middle, it sounds like the singer is right in front of me, and then I got music left and right, and I can kind of visualize. Now, if you've never done that, and your life is a headphone experience, it might not mean nothing to you. But to me, having the sound like it's coming out of just the driver's side of the car is kind of annoying because I know that's not right. But some aftermarket radios do have basic time alignment in it. So you go, okay, well, I can do that with my basic time alignment. You go, yeah, you can. Okay, so on to number 2. This is a 3.5. This is a 6.5. Now, if I'm going to go active, meaning I'm going to put an amplifier channel on the 2 3.5s, an amplifier channel on the 2 6.5s, with a factory radio, the EQ is a 13-band, more than likely, global EQ, meaning if you make one adjustment, it adjusts everything for every speaker in the car. So you're like, all right, might not be what I want to do. So for example, these might need less mid-bass because they're hammering away. And of course, these are the mid-bass drivers. Now you go, okay, well, can I just put a crossover on that? Well, you could go passively through crossover unless your amplifier has a band pass on it. And then you got to guess, like, I'm going to just keep turning the dial and hope for the best. If you have a CC1 crossover calibrator, you could get it perfect. But with a DSP, for crossovers, you can just type in whatever number you want. It's going to be perfect. And 2, because you have individual channels, most DSPs, not all, will have a 1/3 octave EQ for the channels. And what I mean by that is, like, the Audison's the exception there because Audison's like 15 channels, but once you apply the crossover, it automatically aligns the EQ inside of the crossover point as if it were a fully 1/3 octave EQ, because that's all you really need to use anyways, which is really pretty smart the way they did that. And I was like, ooh, good idea. Otherwise, you look at all the other DSPs, they have a 1/3 octave EQ for the 3.5, which you're not going to use all of it. You're going to just use the bands that you have here. Now, as we said, this speaker is farther away than that one, which means it's going to come off the glass. It's going to change the way it sounds. You really want them to be the same. So having a 1/3 octave EQ on each channel will allow you to mirror the sound response of the speakers to the driver and or whatever you're trying to set up as your main focal point. Mid-bass, you can do the same thing. So you could add mid-bass, take away mid-bass. If there's a rattle in the door, obviously you could just pull it away on, let's say, the driver's side instead of fixing it, because who wants to fix it? It'd be so much work. Anyways, so control is the option, is basically where I'm going with it. The ultimate control to make your system sound exactly the way you want it is what a DSP gives you. Radio can give you good sound. And if you're just doing like a radio and a 5-channel amp, perfect. There's no reason to go anywhere past that. But a DSP will always give you the best option possible for the best sound available.
Now, some of these radios...
Hold on. You got like metal on it. Hold on.
Like you say, some of these radios have really nice
EQs.
EQs.
Yeah, so like if you look...
Exelons,
Exelon 507
like
or the
9500s.
1007. Yes.
You know, they have really nice time alignment, EQ, and setup.
Yeah, so they're like a little better than a basic radio, but nowhere near as good as a DSP.
Do you still need a DSP if
Yes.
you have that radio?
Well, there again, if you're looking for the ultimate in control, and you want to make sure if you're so I think the question is, yes, you should have a DSP, and the reason why you'd have a DSP, like when you have the factory radio, is funny because, all right, let's think about that for a minute. So you say, I want a DSP, I have a factory radio. What are you actually using the DSP for? You're using it for de-equalization. So you have to buy a DSP that actually can de-EQ the signal. Now, most of the inexpensive DSPs don't actually have that. They have one EQ, meaning they have one page, they have an EQ for every channel. So if it's like an 8-channel, they have 8 32-band EQs, but they don't have a dedicated de-equalization EQ, which is the problem. So when you look at the 4 biggies that I talked about, Audison, Arc, Moscone, and Helix, they have a full DEQ package, meaning they have one set of EQs in the beginning that is set up to DEQ the system. Then they have the main EQ, okay? So, and then they usually have a secondary EQ, which is in there as well. So there's typically 3 separate EQs in those DSPs that allow you to do totally different things. Input, global, individual. So in an aftermarket radio, you'll get global, and some of them will have some form of a split, so individual. Usually it's like front to rear. Sometimes it is left to right. Yeah, most of the time it's front to rear. So it really, like I said, at the end of the day, it comes down to control and its capabilities. Now, if you have a factory radio like this is just a basic front rear, that's it. I'm selling you a key lock to DEQ this thing, because it can do it in like 15 minutes and fix every problem it has. 15 minutes. Even with the best EQ, I'm sitting there, I'm spending more than 15 minutes playing with this thing. So I'll put a key lock in front of it and just let it do its magic. That's the secret there. But I don't know. Does that kind of straighten out why we need a DSP?
So in the end of the day, yes, you need a DSP, even if you have a aftermarket radio.
What he said. I'm looking at his vent here because he has air fresheners, and the air fresheners have screwed up his dash. So
Really?
yeah. So when you look here,
Oh, they're leaking.
they're leaking and they're eating the plastic. So let me back up. So there you go. This is all corroded plastic here from his air freshener, and then this right here is also corrosion from his air freshener.
To give you
A shower.
You're not washing your car.
No, you shower.
Cleaning your car.
Well, vacuum it out.
Still, like, what is a good air freshener?
A seat cover and clean it every now and then.
What is a good air freshener?
I don't know. I don't like air fresheners. They make me sneeze.
I like to have one.
I know, but they make me sneeze. So, sorry, I sent you down the DSP rabbit hole. No, that's actually a really good question. I like the rabbit holes. Yeah, def. So not only for factory radios. Yeah, but once you hear between having a DSP and none, you cannot go back to not having one. Oh no, that's totally true, man. It's totally the cracker situation. You know, if all you've had is saltines your whole life and somebody hands you a Ritz, you ain't going back to the saltine, my friend. Yeah.
That's a crank it.
Change a bit more because they have to confirm things are connected correctly. I'm not working today. Went to the Pacific Coast for the weekend. That would be fun. A DSP is good for any and all stereos. Waffle cone. Ooh, yeah, waffle cones are good. Waffle bowls are good too. You know, because then it's like eating a taco salad, but for ice cream. Shops here don't like to tune a customer's installed DSP. That's
different.
And I understand that. Like, I hate doing it too. We've done it. We'll do it. It's a pain because you have to go through, and most people don't understand how to connect the DSP properly, or they just don't want to do all the extra steps needed when you're done with the DSP. Like, I think Brian and I did a version of this on the podcast that channels 1 and 2 are always tweeters, 3 and 4 are always mid-range or mid-bass if it's a 2-way, mid-range if it's a 3-way, and then 3 and 4 would be mid-bass, you know, and so on and so forth. So it goes from the front to the back, and you have to set it up. Left and right, you know, these numbers, like, some people think just because it's a DSP and they can manipulate how things and move stuff around in the software that's perfectly fine, and it's like, no, you can't. Like, this, it's just servicing wise, it's just a pain in the ass. And then you have polarity, like testing the polarity to make sure everything is properly wired correctly. These are all things. So, you know, you spend an hour just going through the customer's car, and they're like, well, are you done yet? And it's, why is it so? And it's like, oh my God, dude, like, you screwed up your whole install. So sometimes stepping into somebody else's problem, like their poor life choices, you just don't want to be involved in it, right? I mean, sometimes you just walk away. You just like, I didn't see nothing. I didn't see it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you didn't. No, I didn't see it over there. I did not see a thing. Blah, blah, blah. I didn't hear nothing. So that's what happens sometimes. You just don't want to get involved. And I understand it because it's just, you know, it's just a pain in the butt. What would you refer to a 2021 Accord factory radio? So Accord makes 2 systems. They make bass audio and they make... Oh, it added smoothing. Why did it add smoothing? It has bass audio and they have premium audio. So if you have... All right, hold on. What happened? So if you have the... There we go. If you have the premium audio, you need one thing. If you have bass audio, it's just 4-channel output. You can hook anything you want up to it as far as DSP goes. You just need a DSP with 4 channels of input. If it's a premium audio system, that means it's going to have a center, a sub, left and right tweeter, left and right mid. That's 6 channels of a minimum that you need because you do have to integrate the center channel and you do have to have an amplifier for said center channel because Honda is that's an upmix system and you have to keep the center channel. So when working on a car that has a center channel, you have to find out if it's upmixed or not. And they also put all their Bluetooth audio through it. It might not be upmixed, but they definitely put a lot of the other crap through it. Fords, not so much. If you have a base model Ford, that center channel is absolutely useless. Toyotas are the same way, unless it says JBL, in which case you just buy an Amp Pro. So life is good there. Bear freshener is a bag of activated charcoal underneath your seat.
Underneath the seat?
Yeah, just put a bag of the activated charcoal. Thank you. That probably makes the most sense because it's just gonna, it's not gonna smell. Do you guys have a house EQ curve that you shoot to get on DSP system? Can you share what you try to get on the output? You know, it's funny because I was just looking at Fred. So the other day on the show, we talked about Fred Lynch from Arc Audio put out this cool piece of paper here. And I said, dude, you need to download it to the website so that people can download it. And I was looking at his house curve that he likes to use, or his target curve, I think is, and it's very similar to what mine is, in that I typically will make this area here, which is the tweeter. I like to leave some of that energy in there. So like, you know, we do a lot of focal stuff, which is naturally just very energetic in this area. So I don't beat it down with a hammer. I let it be itself. Mine might be a little bit more aggressive than his is. And then somewhere in like this area, which is the 500, I typically add a small dip here because this to me usually has a bit of a ringy sound to it. And then otherwise, this is about right as far as going up in the mid-range band and up to the subwoofer. You know, I might add a bump here just on the sub to make it a little bit more boomy, give it that punch bass feel. But outside of that, this is very close to what I like to see. This is a cool sheet of paper. Hopefully he'll get it up on the website soon. So it's really, really cool. But when they do, we'll share the link so that you guys can take advantage of it because he did do a nice job. Nice, totally nice. Today on the show at 5 o'clock. We're doing 5 o'clock show today. So it's Saturday, so there's going to be a 5 o'clock show. We have a new product from our good friends at Kicker. Some of you guys have heard of this. This is the PX app. So PXAPT. If you haven't heard of this yet, we have a video that's going to come out next week talking all about it and do a big walkthrough on what it is. However, tonight on the show, we're going to give you a taste, a tease, a dabble of what it is that this older amplifier is actually capable of doing now, which is really cool. I kind of want to get your take on it, see what you guys think about it. So we'll be doing that tonight on the 5 o'clock show. Also, Monday's show is going to actually be on Tuesday. So our Monday show will be Tuesday, just so you guys know. We have a kicker training to go to on Monday. Ironic, right? So stay tuned. Got anything else, Fernando?
No.
He's got nothing. Hi, Bobby. All right, so that's what we got. It's Saturday. See you guys tonight. Have a wonderful day. Peace out. Bye.